Now the other day we had the North-South Cup, which is a charity competition event from the best 20 pilots of the North and the best 20 pilots of the South. And out of those best pilots, 5 were selected to do a spot landing task. These 5 pilots of each side came in with totally different approaches, and not many were perfect. They came in right over the top of the landing field, had to lose height, and then if you're right over the landing field, where else can you go apart from out of it? Now the pumpy brake thing can work in an emergency, but remember, you're close to the ground and possibly in wind gradient, so always make sure the glider returns to balanced flight and stop the risk of stalling. Now this pilot does his figure of 8s and base leg way too close to the spot landing area, leaving them low, doing hook turns close to the ground, which is potentially very dangerous. The same again with this pilot, a low turn, penduluming in, hitting hard on landing. It's just not worth it, always just glide it out. Now this pilot does a lovely disciplined base leg far away, leaving a nice long glide in, but he's quite aggressive on the pitch action in order to land at the spot, leaving him and his passenger coming in fast and losing their footing. The key is come over the landing field, set yourself up from far away, come into the barrier of the landing field, the edge of it, so the tree line, a hedge line or whatever. Be disciplined and stay above and in front of that tree line or hedge line or track, soaring as if you're trying to stay up, staying above and in front of it. Then finally, 190-degree turn into the field to come in and land. So giving yourself as long a glide angle as you can to work out your glide approach to the spot area, doing final corrections and not having to do silly turns, losing height, just nice smooth corrections, controlling only the pitch and the glide. Because if you start having to do turns, if you start having to do mushy brakes, it means you've cocked it up from far back. So the key is be disciplined. Now some fields you could do a constant aspect approach where you lose your height gently upwind of the landing field, and if you're doing a right hand approach you keep the field to your right as you come down on your downwind leg, and then you turn right going on your base leg with the wind across you, and then you keep an eye on the landing field and you turn right again on your finals and just doing correctional pitch control on your final approach. That's a constant aspect approach into a field. Very common in the Alps where it's quite light winds and anabatic flow and nil winds in the landing, where they want everyone to do the same thing. And it could be a left-hand circuit or a right-hand circuit. But the key is, just like a long glide in, when you're doing a constant aspect approach, you're working out your whole glide with turns as well. So imagine if you're set up and you're upwind and you start to your circuit, you go downwind, and as you go downwind you realize I'm really high. Then you might make that base leg longer and then a final longer, or you could make the downwind leg longer and then base leg and then into finals. But always remember your wind speed, because when you're coming in with a strong wind, if you're going quite fast on your downwind leg, then bear in mind if you turn late on your base and then into wind leg, you might not make it into the field. So that's what you learn when you're doing lots of constant aspect approach: the wind speed, your glide angle, and the amount you sink every turn you do. So we have two general approaches: constant aspect, or we have getting into a small landing field in an emergency, i.e. getting above it and then losing your height on a boundary and then gliding in. We're off to Butterfly Valley, and it is a lovely place to land. We go there at the end of the course to give the students something to de-stress with a beautiful sunset. It's a perfect example of a small landing approach that you need to be disciplined and stay at one edge of. But the students, they go over and they think, ah! when they see it, because it's tiny from above, but actually it's quite big. And you can see the sunny side and the shady side. We asked the students to soar on the sunny cliff down, and then when they're low enough, do a 90-degree turn at the end of the beach, leaving them a long glide in to land at the quiet end of the beach. Whilst it's nice and calm, get used to flying close to a cliff. You've always got to remember though, if it's a cliff, your body's got to be further away from a normal slope because your wingtip is touching it. And teaching a chimp, it's okay. And so all we do is we soar the cliff up and down. Look at that, how beautiful that is. So you think, am I high enough now to do my final approach? And I think, yeah, I'm pretty good. So you then do your final turn, lose a little bit of height, like that. Say hello to Salim, he's over there. Hello Salim! And then go on your final glide. With just correctional steering now. Come in with speed, because there's some boulders. Okay. And then nice hard turn. Well, we did it. We landed at the beautiful Butterfly Valley. Peace. You can hear butterfly flapping his wings.